Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Rise of Nehilya patch notes. So this is quite a big patch. There's been a couple new things added to the game. So first of all, we have Mysthrane Gorge, which is the new area just west of West Hiram. And if you want to access it, you go through West Hiram. There's a little entrance through there. And this area's got a whole, I don't know, Mad Max kind of thing going on with it. That's how I'd describe it. Just looking at the map of the area, it kind of reminds me of Age of Silence, so this new area is recommended for level 28, Ancestral level 28 or higher players. Doesn't really give you a gear score requirement, but you can go through the Illusion Cave to get there, and it contains 9 new exploration spots, 10 new achievements, and I believe there's a whole new set of main story quests over there as well. So there's 9 new story quests. I'm probably going to do a video on these story quests if I can do them. I'm going to assume I can. And yeah, I don't know what the reward at the end of it is. Hopefully something good. It's probably not going to be a costume or anything fun like that, but you'll probably get a title or something out of it. And then we have the world boss, or one of the world bosses in this area, which is some old war machine, as they describe here, and these will spawn at the Seal Stones on Tuesday and Thursday from 9 PM till 10:30, and if they're not killed within the hour, they disappear. The usual stuff. And to actually kill these, you need to deal siege damage, and you'll do this via vehicles that you can, well, your own vehicles that you could add cannons to or stuff, or you can actually purchase vehicles from a vehicle merchant that is nearby, and you can also repair and replace stuff at the faction bases. So you will have one of these world bosses spawn at each of the Seal Stones, and the first faction to actually take down the boss will be given a buff to allow them to actually try to fight Neyhila. Some of the details are that if you're near your Seal Stone, you'll actually get a buff, which will help with you fighting the world boss, and upon actually beating it, you'll get some honor, some leadership, but you'll also get a spare parts box and some even glow lunarite, which the spare parts box, I'm going to assume, will give you parts to upgrade your cars, I assume. There's also a portable siege launcher that you can pick up, I presume, for people that don't have cars or are sitting on the back of cars and shooting while the fight takes place. Alright, so then we have Neyhila, who spawns right after this, and to access her, you will need to, of course, be the first faction to beat one of the previous world bosses, and she then spawns in the central hall in the middle of the zone, and once she's up, she will actually drain health from anyone that doesn't have the buff, so any of the other factions that try to get close will just be killed, so you can't actually go anywhere near her, so avoid that. And then at 10:30 PM, she'll despawn if she isn't defeated, so you do need to be careful of that. As for the rewards that you can get from defeating her, you can get 3 gold crates, 1 clouded soul crystal, 1 world boss infusion, 1 unidentified glorious even glow lunar gem, and 1 ominous gold chest. I don't know what the ominous one is. But then there's also the possible new weapons that are in the game. There's the Soulslake Edge, the Soulslake Razor, Cleaver, Leech, and Bulwark, which we will now take a look at, because these are actually very interesting. The Soulslake weapons are now obtainable. Of course, you'll get them off Neyhila, and you can use Elite Awakening Scrolls to awaken them to Eminent Soulslake equipment. Eminent has the same effects as its counterpart, but the value of each since stat is different. Okay, so of course it's just a bit stronger. Now, as for the effects of these weapons, the Soulslake Edge, which I'm going to assume looks like it's a two-handed sword. So the Soulslake Edge grants a stack of Soulslake Edge, and every time you deal melee damage up to a maximum of 30 stacks, it's replaced with an Abyssal Power buff. And while it's active, you can deal 1,499 melee damage, ignoring the target's physical damage at the same time, and after a successful attack, nearby enemies are pushed away. It has a 45-second cooldown, which is probably shared with the rest of the Soulslake items, but that sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of these weapons. I don't know if I'll be able to get my hands on one, but we'll see. We'll so we can mess around with them. And then we have the Soulslake Razor, which is every time you deal melee damage up to 30 stacks, you get the Abyssal Power buff, and while it's active you can charge 7 meters forward and deal 792 melee damage. Damage to targets in the path at the same time. A 7 meter tall flame barrier is summoned in your tracks, dealing magic damage, lasts 2 seconds. So we can assume this is probably the one-handed sword, I'm going to assume. Possibly a dagger. I don't know what each of these are. And again, it has a 45-second cooldown. And then we have the Cleaver, which sounds more like a sword, to be honest. Which, once you get the Abyssal Power buff, you deal 806 melee damage and place a Cleaver target, allowing you to use the Soulslake charge skill for 4 seconds. Okay, so it doesn't really state what the Soulslake charge. I'm going to assume it's the same as the Soulslake Razor, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's interesting. And then we have the Soulslake Leech, again, which is the same 30 stacks. And then you get Abyssal Bound, you can deal 1,221 magic damage to enemies within 20 meters in front of you. It also triggers a shockwave within 3 meters, dealing 50% of the previous damage dealt. And again, has a 45-second cooldown. I'm assuming this is probably a staff. It's magic damage, so who knows. And then we have the Bulwark, which is going to be a shield. So every time you receive melee damage up to a maximum of 30 stacks, you get the Abyssal Power, which means you can cast a shield that absorbs damage for cast and allies within 10 meters up to 10 times. Which sounds pretty strong. But yeah, we'll see how these weapons actually do when they're in the game. Well, when they're used in game. But they do sound really cool. I like the idea of your weapon transforming after you get some stacks and dealing a bit more damage. It's interesting, but I'll see if I can get my hands on one and give it a go. Anyway, okay, and then we have the Farmhand System, which is the house fairy you spoke about in the Korean patch notes a long time ago. As you can see, here's the golden weird looking dog thing. So these new farmhands can be placed on your house, and to bind them to your house you need to walk on up to it, press H, and there's a whole system for doing that. And there's the new UI, which is you press Shift H to open. And how these work essentially is you have to feed them labor, vigor points, and a farm design. Now, the way it's wording it makes it sound like farms that you already have down don't matter to the farmhand, which I don't know exactly how that works, but I'll have to double check if you actually have to get, so you might have to get a new farm design just for the farmhand, or remove one of your old farms, which it's an interesting idea if that's the case, because it means people need less land, or they would need less land. People probably want to keep the land anyway. As the owner of the farmhand, you can feed it labor, and then there's a transfer limit on that, which resets daily. And then once it's reached any extra labor, it only restores 80% worth. So there is a cap on that. Then is granted XP, which goes towards its proficiencies, because the farmhand actually has skills as well, which it levels up over time. There's also free vigor point transfers, resets weekly instead of daily. And if all of the transfers have been used, vigor points can be filled using a vitalizing treat, which are gonna currently be sold on the marketplace for credits or diligence, which I have some issues with. I believe it's also going to be in the premium Arch Pass for December, so yeah, that's going to be a thing. So once you've actually logged in onto one of your characters and you've fed it the labor, the vigor points, and the farm design, you can start working on the farm. You don't get any of the labor or vigor back if you cancel the current task that the farmhand has, and each farm design has its capacity limit. Also, this doesn't seem to work for livestock pens or bundles or woodlots, so these are individual plants, and once the farmhand is done, it'll actually deliver you everything via the mail. So there is a more in-depth guide here that we can look at, but there is also a capacity on all of the different farm designs, and from the looks of things, it does look like you're probably going to need to use a separate farm design to actually make this work, which is interesting. And working with the farmhand is a little different because it does take 20% longer to be fully harvested than a standard farm. So it'll take 20% longer to actually mature before it's actually then collected and then sent over to you. The outcome will be the same as actually just planting it down yourself though, so it will take a tiny bit longer, but it's a lot more convenient. And then as you level your farmhand, it currently goes all the way to 35, and each time you level up you'll get some more farm slots available or proficiency increases. And at 21 in trade is unlocked, so I assume that's when you can start making the farmhand run trade packs for you, which is the one I'm most interested in. But yeah, you can get it to do farming, whether that's, you know, logs, plants, or livestock. Or you can then get it to trade, which is the one I'm most interested in. It then has a max labor increase of 22 as well, so there is a lot going on with the system. It may require its own video, because there's a lot more to talk about here, as there's also farmhand's equipment, which you can get for vocation, and you can also change its appearance by using a power stone pet, so there's quite a bit there. Lastly, there seems to be a tutorial equipment achievement, so this is for newer players, or if you're making an alt like I currently am, you can get an achievement for equipment synthesis, which will grant it a Hiram infusion crate, which is 1 guild and 30 mysterious Hiram infusions. There's one for socket and lunar gems, which will grant dawnstone crates, which is 1 guild star and 2 dawnstones. And now actually dawnstones will remove all socketed lunar gems at once, but destroy them all. And they can be purchased from blacksmiths. Did they not always do that? Or am I thinking of like a different stone? I'm sure there was a stone that used to do that. Anyway, there's also the Equipment Awakening achievement, which gives you 1 guild star and 10 Awakening Scrolls. So this is just a nice little feature to help ease people into the endgame equipment. So this is more so for newer players. There doesn't seem to be any other changes, which is odd. Usually they have a lot more. This patch notes here, I guess this is all there is, because it didn't seem super in-depth. There's usually bug fixes and stuff, but apparently there's nothing this time around. But yeah, that looks like that's that for the patch notes. It was a little bit of a short one this time, which is probably for the best. But yeah, I'll try and maybe do something more on the farmhand, because there's more I want to talk about with this, and I want to show the systems off more in game, so I'll perhaps save that for another video, and I'll try and get some videos out of the new zone so you can get an idea of the new quests and stuff over there. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, and check me out over on Twitch, because there's going to be some new Twitch drops on the way, which will give you a new in-game dance and some other stuff like that, so there's some fun goodies over there. And also check out the Discord. I want to try and get more people in there so we can all talk about Archeage stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.